So our next question comes from Jason A. Jason says, "Hey guys, I'm working with an engineer on an invention. We have the drawing and we're now getting a model made with a 3D printer. My question is, after we get this model made, what are the next steps to make so the invention can reach production or have a company purchase it? What are the steps to get a patent? What is the price? If you guys could just help me with some tactical things I can do to make my dream become a reality, I would greatly appreciate it."
Yeah, I love this, Jason, and you're in the right place. I've been doing this for almost 30 years now. So this is going to be a little long-winded for everyone, but I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. So Jason, great job. You've got the engineer involved. You're getting your 3D model. Your next steps are really going to be research. You want to understand what is the total addressable market? Who is your customer? Do you want to exit it right away, or do you want to get it to market, get a story built, and then maybe look to exit? But I'm going to walk you through all of this. First and foremost, make sure you have all of your documentation in order. No matter who you use, the engineer, a graphic designer, a web developer, all of these people need to be under contract so they know that you own everything. Because a lot of graphic designers, a lot of web companies, a lot of engineers will say, I designed this thing for this gentleman, Jason, and so I'm not going to release these drawings, especially if you have a lot of success. So have a manufacturer's agreement in place before you share it with any manufacturers. Have a design contract in place before you go any further in this process. Because trust me, people will knock you off, people will come after you, or they'll try to extort you for money. Now let's move on to the trademark and then what to do about the patent. You want to make sure you do both. I want you to trademark the product, I want you to trademark your logo, and I want to make sure that you understand the patent process. It's very long and arduous and very expensive. So what I would recommend you do, and I don't know the product, but I would recommend you do a design patent first, because those can be accomplished very quickly and inexpensively, sometimes $300-400, while filing your utility patent. Because a utility patent might take you $15,000 to $20,000 and 2 years to get handled. But the key here is make sure that everything you do, that you have patent pending showing. Because then anyone that's thinking about knocking you off or doing anything else is going to shy away if they know you've taken all the right steps to build this product out correctly to be able to get to the market and possibly sell. Now let's move on to how do you exit this product. You've got the product in hand, you're ready to go, it works, you're happy with it, you've gone through all the iterations. I would look to taking it to a show. Go to a tool show, get yourself an 8x8 booth. You don't need anything fancy. I've done it with just a fold-out table and a banner and done very, very well in the past. Take the tool, go there, have all your ducks in a row, and try to sell it to a larger company. A friend of mine did this years ago. It was amazing to watch. He had a product that he made locally. It wasn't even great, but the idea was great. He took 3 prototypes that he personally spray painted with a banner to a tool show and sold the tool outright for $11 million on day one. Life-changing money for my friend. It was an incredible journey for him. He got like $5 million up front and the rest over time. But just make sure along the way you're protecting yourself front to back, because you never know what'll happen, especially if you're using a factory that's abroad. Because if you don't have protection with them and this product starts really, really doing well, they're going to sell the idea to other people in other countries without you knowing and manufacture it for them as well.
So how does he go from 3D printed model to reach production?
I would say the first step, getting the contracts in order. And then the second step is seeking out a manufacturer, whether in the US or abroad, China, Mexico, wherever. I don't know the product, so I don't know which country would be best. And then figure out your production. What is your tooling cost? Where's that money going to come from? Once you get all of that figured out, do this one thing, and I promise it'll be great for you later. Do not fall for the unit economics scam. So many people develop a product and they go, man, I only need 100 units to get started so I can show it around and get samples out. But then the factory says, man, but if you buy 1,000 units, we can save you XYZ percentage. So many people fall for that. They buy the 1,000 units and then they're stuck with it for years and have all this money tied up. Get it handled. Figure out who's going to do your injection molding, your assembly, all of that. You can do that by just doing research online. You can go to Alibaba, Thomas.net, all of these different sites, and just make sure you understand the process and protect yourself along the way. So assuming you get it done, you've now got the 3D prototype, you've got the final product in hand, you're happy with it, you're ready to go. Make sure you have your URL, your website, your social handles, and do this one thing for any of you developing products. I don't care what kind of product it is. When you buy the URL, buy every other web address similar to the one you go with, because then that locks people out from getting a good name to be able to knock you off. I made this mistake with Silly Bands, and it cost me millions and millions of dollars. When we settled on Silly Bands as the name for the product, we considered Crazy Bands, Zany Bands, all these other iterations of the name, and I didn't buy those URLs. And immediately, once we hit, mass scale, everyone else popped up that was knocking me off using those URLs. So for an additional $100 in URLs a year, I could have prevented myself from having all of these knockoffs have similar names. So keep that in mind as well.
So do you have any advice for Jason here as it relates to maybe getting his invention on Amazon, on TikTok, at Target, at Walmart with like actual, is it quantities that are needed?
So I would say, no, I wouldn't do that. I think the best route to success in the beginning, so you prove the concept with the market, is to not even consider retail. Because at the end of the day, when you go into retail, the age-old saying is it's easy to get the product on the shelves. The key is you have to get it off the shelves. And we could spend hours talking about this one point. So focus on direct-to-consumer. Focus on, and again, I don't know what the product is, but focus on direct-to-consumer. Focus on B2B, if this is something you would sell to firms or companies or mid-scale companies around the country. Focus on that first. Build your story. Build the need. Build the desire. Get all your manufacturing and your shipping processes in order. Then consider, I would say, TikTok first, Amazon second, and then build from there. I would say make retail last, because with retail, if someone loves your product and says, okay, we want this, and you're right now selling 500 units a month, and they say, we'll take 100,000 units, you have to figure out how to pay for it. You have to figure out the carry cost to pay for it, because from the time you order it to the time you get paid is probably going to be 100 to 150 days. You have to be able to hold that money wherever you get it from and pay the interest on that money for all of that time without getting paid back. So you have to keep all of these things in mind when thinking about going to retail.
And so my last comment around this though, Robert, would be if I was in Jason's shoes, I would go just create a Shopify website. I think you could do it for like $30 or something, right? Go listen to the episode we did with Harley, the president of Shopify, on this show, and use Shopify, a super easy way to list a product, connect it to your Stripe account, sell it, like get on the Shop app. Like there is an easy way to go from, okay, I've got a 3D printed model. I've now created it. I've got a production line for it. And now I need to sell it direct to consumers. You can begin selling all of that stuff very simply on Shopify.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that plug. And it's really just all about protection along the way and making sure before you even name a product, for any of you that are out there considering, white labeling a product or building a company, make sure you do the research on the name and the social media handles. I see so many people that don't do this as one of the first steps, and it really comes back to haunt them, because you want to make sure you have a URL that is good for search engine optimization. You hear about SEO all the time. It is magical. Too many people think of the names for their company or their product in a way that's cute and fun for them. That's not what this is about. When I launched silicone bracelets back in the Livestrong bracelets days, everyone on my team was talking about all these cool names, and they looked really good in logos. And I named the company CustomSiliconeBracelets.com, because guess what? Everyone that went on to Google back then would type in, where do I buy custom silicone bracelets? So we ranked #1 without buying AdWords for the 15 years that product was hot. So make sure you think through all aspects of this and prepare yourself first before you leak any of this to anyone to make sure you're set up.
There you go, Jason. Gave you the play-by-play. Can't wait to see your product out and about. And hopefully Robert and I can be customers one day.